This is a pain I mostly hide, but ties of blood or seed endure. And even now I feel inside the hunger for his outstretched hand, a man's embrace to take me in, the need for just a word of praise. I despise the discipline he used to shape what I should be, not owning up that he might feel his own pain when he punished me. I didn't show my need to him, since his response to an appeal would not have meant as much to me or been as real. For those rare times when we did cross the bridge between us, the pure joy survives. I never put aside the past resentments of the boy until, with my own sons, I shared his final hours and came to see what he'd become or always was, the father who will never cease to be alive in me. Former President Jimmy Carter. Let's take a comfortable seat. Just softening the shoulders, straightening the back a little bit. With your hands face up, relaxed on your lap, and your knees at a right angle with your feet flat on the floor so you feel grounded and present. And just with the aspiration to go deep. So that everything slows down, the breathing slows down, your heart rate begins to slow down. As you soften the muscles of your face, really feeling it around your eyes and your cheekbones, and for me, especially around the muscles of the jaw. Giving the back of your neck a break. Maybe lengthening it just a little bit, like we say, by a millimeter. And then feeling that keen awareness at the center of your forehead. That attention that starts way back behind the mind. And then into the chest. Just letting down the drawbridge of the heart. Opening up defenses, worries, protections. All the judging and not wanting to be judged. Just as an experiment. Letting all that armor fall away. And then softening the belly. which is the power center. So much of our pain gets deposited there. Discomfort and blockage. And then extending the breath to 4 counts as you breathe in, and 5 as you breathe out, so that you're releasing whatever you're holding: discomfort, worry, judging, being judged. Just letting it go. And as you're doing this, you're feeling that connection between the heart and the mind. Chitta becomes one organ. That conduit between the chest and that place at the center of your forehead, like the roots of the tree, are part of that organism that also has leaves and branches. Now we're in it. The space widens. The mind like a sky. I Wanted to Share My Father's World by Jimmy Carter. This is a pain I mostly hide, but ties of blood or seed endure. And even now I feel inside the hunger for his outstretched hand, a man's embrace to take me in, the need for just a word of praise. I despise the discipline he used to shape what I should be, not owning up that he might feel his own pain when he punished me. I didn't show my need to him, since his response to an appeal would not have meant as much to me or been as real. For those rare times when we did cross the bridge between us, the pure joy survives. I never put aside the past resentments of the boy until, with my own sons, I shared his final hours and came to see what he'd become or always was, the father who will never cease to be alive in me. It's just a marvelous thing about someone admitting having resentments and holding on to them. Not even that bad things happened, but I resented them and I held on to them. And I even had chances to let it go, but I would rather hold on to my resentment than give the other person the satisfaction of seeing it resolved. It's a poem I chose for a few reasons today. It captures this flavor of love, this quality of love, this conversation I want to keep having this semester, because it's a poem as much about letting go of resentments, which it does in the end. It's a poem about what is greatness, what is success, what is real power. That's what stands behind this poem, waiting to be revealed. And as we all know, Jimmy Carter died recently, and we had the inauguration of a new president right on the heels of that loss. It's part of the reason, of course, I chose this poem, because Jimmy Carter was a great man who struggled at his job when he had it. But what we remember about him is his character. We remember his greatness in who he was, not necessarily as president, what he did. And it was after his presidency, even after he had risen to this highest office in his field, that his character was actually revealed. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. He started the Carter Center for Human Rights, traveled all around, giving peace talks and negotiations. He monitored elections. He worked with Habitat for Humanity, some of the greatest pictures of him, building houses. And he went to Palestine, he walked into Palestine without a lot of people around him to protect him as a show of faith and support. And, special to my heart, he wrote poetry. His character was revealed in who he was, not necessarily what he did as president. I also chose it because today is my father's 90th birthday. My dad died about 12 years ago, and there was a similar sudden reconciliation of what Bruce Weigel calls the sack full of old quarrels that the body is when it comes to our parents. There was just this sudden release of many old quarrels at the end, and so this poem is really poignant to me and really beautiful. What brings all that to mind is the way that this poem holds on to the discomfort and then lets it go. I love this poem because it provides many evidences of what character is. And the first sign of great character is that he focuses finally at the end, not on the resentments or what happened to him or what people did to him, the bad things that went down, but on how he could respond to those resentments, how he could possibly let them go, which is what happens in the third stanza. So it goes from indictment to self-awareness. He's even easy on himself. He's not so hard on himself. He's able to reveal these flaws in his character. But ironically, his revelation of the flaws are what make him great. And we all know this about him because stuff came up when he was running for president about lust in his heart, the things that Jimmy Carter was willing to say about his own flaws, things that people would never know. There were never any email chains that anyone would find about lust in his heart, but he was willing to go to that tender place and be vulnerable. And this weekend, the class that I'm teaching on Mary Oliver and willingness is also paired with a yoga class. And my fellow teacher, Sean Perel, talks about the role of asanas in yoga, the poses that we hold, where we're holding this discomfort and it doesn't feel great, and we're holding it, and it doesn't feel great, and we're holding it. And then there's this moment of release. And it's exactly what poems do. Poems have forms that are perfect containers for their content. They're not too tight, which would be harmful, and they're not too loose, which wouldn't provide any tension, any friction that would offer progression. So poems have to have the perfect container. They have to hold them long enough for that release to feel as, energetically powerful as it can be. And we all know what that feels like when we're reading a great poem. So what Jimmy Carter's doing here is very Kriya in its way. It's going inward. It's saying, not like what's wrong with the world and how can I move things around to make myself more comfortable, but why does this not feel comfortable? Why do I have a problem with this in the first place? And when you get to that source, you just sort of, it dissolves. The arrows turn into flowers. I guess the last thing I'll say is that there's a nice comparison between Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, and Jimmy Carter, because both had a hard time at their jobs. And in fact, Marcus Aurelius was the last emperor of the Pax Romana, which was the succession of good emperors before the Roman Empire began to decline after his death. His son Commodus, took it in a wrong direction. But Marcus Aurelius is known as the philosopher emperor because his meditations are really all about his flaws. Even though they're full of wisdom, they're about him convincing himself of the things that he should try harder to do. And one of the great things about the meditations is gratitude. That's the third sign of the great character. There's this huge section on gratitude, that his debts to other people. From this person, I learned this. From that person, I learned that. And this is what he says about his father. These things I learned from my father: strength, steadfastness, and moderation on all occasions, a spirit perfectly balanced and indomitable, like the one he showed during the illness which took him away. It seems like a nice mirror to what Jimmy Carter is describing here. So let's hear it one more time. I wanted to share my father's world. This is a pain I mostly hide, but ties of blood or seed endure. And even now I feel inside the hunger for his outstretched hand, a man's embrace to take me in, the need for just a word of praise. I despised the discipline he used to shape what I should be, not owning up that he might feel his own pain when he punished me. I didn't show my need to him, since his response to an appeal would have meant as much to me or been as real. For those rare times when we did cross the bridge between us, the pure joy survives. I never put aside the past resentments of the boy until, with my own sons, I shared his final hours and came to see what he'd become, or always was, the father who will never cease to be alive in me. So I have a question for you. Getting back into that pose of alignment, the heart and the mind is one organ. Straightening the back, lengthening the neck just a little bit, just a millimeter. Feeling that smile in your heart so that it is distributed to every cell in your body. Not starting in the face or in the mind, but starting in the heart. Remember a discomfort, an old quarrel, a relationship that might have even ended on not great terms. Someone passed away before you had a chance to resolve a disagreement. Just go to the place in your body where you feel that discomfort. You may feel it in your gut. As we say in poetry workshops, now we choose to look longer rather than look away. And this is the asana. This is the pose. You hold it for a little bit. You sit with it. Strange to read a Jimmy Carter poem with the word despise in it, but you're admitting, oh yeah, I played a role in that. Did I want resolution? No, maybe not. Maybe I wanted to sit with my resentment. Just holding that pose. And here's the difficult part. Were there moments in the relationship when greatness of character really was revealed? Not necessarily at the end, but maybe in the middle or in the beginning or toward the end. Were there moments when they revealed a desire for reconciliation, goodness, self-awareness, letting go of resentment? Were there moments when you exhibited greatness of character, self-awareness, openness, awe, a feeling of not even deserving this person? It doesn't matter. Maybe at the beginning, maybe in the middle, maybe at the end. Can you just turn the spotlight slightly to the left so that it shines on that moment of sharing? And hold your awareness there. And then whoosh, just let it go. And in the last minute, returning to that smile in the heart. My funny Valentine, you make me smile in my heart. I wanted to share my father's world by Jimmy Carter. This is a pain I mostly hide, but ties of blood or seed endure. And even now I feel inside the hunger for his outstretched hand, a man's embrace to take me in, the need for just a word of praise. I despised the discipline he used to shape what I should be, not owning up that he might feel his own pain when he punished me. I didn't show my need to him, since his response to an appeal would not have meant as much to me or been as real. For those rare times when we did cross the bridge between us, the pure joy survives. I never put aside the past resentments of the boy until, with my own sons, I shared his final hours and came to see what he'd become or always was, the father who will never cease to be alive in me. Thank you, everyone.